Hello. Now, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I've been wondering where to start from, but at the same time, I'm super excited, and I can't wait to share with you more and more what I know about crocheting, and I'm sure step by step we shall be able to learn. Now basically this video is for those who are just learning and who have idea about crocheting, but at the same time they lose track along the way. When we look at crocheting is you only need for a start you only need a basic to know just the basic about it. Then once you know the basic stitches, then you're good to go. The rest is all about you practicing, it's all about you being patient, it's all about you knowing and being passionate about what you're going to do or what you'll be doing. Now when we look at the basic stitches, we have what we call slip knot, we have a chain foundation or a chain stitch, we have single crochet, we have double crochet, and we have double crochet, we have let me see, we have half double crochet, we have yeah, basically those 4 or those 5, they're the basic. Then the rest, these other, the rest you will get to know them as you progress. That's when you'll be able to understand the rest. I just have this noted down for my own guide. It was just for personal use. It was something that was guiding me, so I thought I should share it with you so that you'll be able to also understand. Again, we might not go through to read and maybe I tell you more about what this is all about, or how these stitches are done, or which stitch is this, which stitch is this. But what I will do is I'll be practicing them. I'll take you through how to make this, how to make a slip knot. Is that simple? How to make a foundation chain. All this is a starting. Those are the basic. This is a starting. You know, when you before you make anything, before you make any project, these are just the starting point. So I'll just take you through on how to make these stitches. Then once we learn these stitches, then we are good to go. That is the most important thing. Hello. Okay, now let's get to this. Now to start with our simple 5 topics that we are going to talk about. Sorry, let me put this, and I write down this afresh. We're going to make a slip knot, then foundation chain or chain stitch, then we have single crochet, we have double crochet, then half double, crochet. Now these in crochet, these are the most common or the most starting stitches to learn or to know. Once you know all these 5, is 1 2 3 4 5, you are good to go. Once you understand them, then the rest is just a walkover. You'll be good to go. Now I'll not take much of your time. Let's just learn these things. Now for the slip knot, this is your strand, this is a yarn. All these you will get to know. This is a yarn. So this is a yarn. I'm just using this it's a 4mm hook. It's what I have at the moment. I don't have a smaller hook on this, but there are so many different sizes of hooks, of which you also get to know this. I'll take you through as time goes on. Now for the start, to make a slip knot, you get your yarn, or you get your strand like this. Now there are so many different ways to make a slip knot, but I'll just take you through my own way of making a slip knot. So I just get my strand like this, then I'll just do like this, You see this? Then I leave like a small a few inches this side. Then I bring the shortest strand like this, you see. Then I make it pass through here, then I pull. That is how I make a slip knot. Now this is a slip knot. So let's try it again. Just hold your yarn like this, then do this. Don't know how to call that one, sorry. You have a few inches left to this side. Then you bring the shorter strand and make it pass through. You make it pass on top of this, then you make it pass through this here, you see. Then you pull. Now this is a slip knot. You have finished a slip knot. Now we have finished our slip knot. Now after you have finished a slip knot, we go to the next step, which is the foundation chain or the chain stitch. Now once you have a slip knot, we already have it, you just get your hook, whichever hook you're using, then you just pull. Don't pull to make it too tight, and it shouldn't be loose, so it should be you give that allowance of the hook to move. Then for the foundation chain, this chain is made according to how long you want it to be. Get? So this would determine how many stitches to work on. So if you want maybe 10 inches, you make according to the 10 inches you want. If you want 5 inches, you make a stitch of 5 inches. So all this you have to bear in mind. So for the purpose of demonstration, I'm just going to chain 10 to make 10 stitches. So this is 1. Now this is a stitch, a finished stitch. This one is a stitch. Then 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are making a foundation chain. So a foundation chain, you just yarn over, you get the yarn, you pull, you have made a stitch. You yarn over, you get the yarn, you pull, you have made another stitch. You yarn over, you get the yarn, you pull at once, you have made another stitch. So that is how simple the foundation stitch is. So you simply keep on yarning over and you pull out. You yarn over, you pull out. So this movement, all this is yarning over, this is yarn over. You see this before you pull, that is yarn over. So you make the stitches, as many stitches as you want, depending on how many stitches you're making or how many stitches you need for your foundation stitch. So we have finished the foundation stitch. Now after finishing the foundation stitch, bear in mind you have to count them. So if your foundation stitch calls for 10, make sure you count them and know that they are 10. If it calls for 100, make sure you count them and know that they are 100. However long, however small, make sure you count to be sure of your stitches, because if you don't count the stitches, that means that at the end of the day your end project will not come out the way you want it. You get my point? So hope you understand me there. So this is your foundation chain. So assume we have, this is what you want. Let me just count for the purpose, just to be sure. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. So we wanted 10 and we already have 10. Now we have finished. This is your foundation chain or your chain stitch. This one, we have finished it. Now from here we are going to single crochet. Now single crochet, after making your slip knot, remember how we started? We made a slip knot. Now after the slip knot, we went into foundation chain. Now after foundation chain, now we are going to do the single crochet. Suppose that your project now says you work with single crochet. So single crochet, you already have a foundation chain. Now single crochet from the hook. This is a hook, so from the hook you work in the second stitch. You get my point? Now how do you know this is a stitch? Now in crocheting, a stitch is very important. Those are the most important, like I said, the fundamental stitches that you get to know. So this is a stitch, whichever after when you're making the foundation chain, after that yarning over and pulling the loop, you've made a stitch. So this is a stitch, this one here, this is a second stitch, this is the third stitch. Let me just get a hook, maybe be able to see them. So this is a hook, this is a stitch, this is a first stitch, this is a second stitch, this is a third stitch, this is a fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. So from the hook, we are saying from the hook, when you're making single crochet, you start from your second stitch. So this is a first stitch. From the hook, you don't count this one because this is not finished, you don't count it. So you go, this is a first stitch, so this is a second stitch. So from the hook, you just, for a single crochet, you just come with the hook, you insert here, you pull the yarn. Now you have 2 loops on your hook, then you yarn over. Like I said, this is yarn over. You yarn over, you pull at once. You have finished your first single crochet. Now we're going to make the second one. Now the second one, you go into the second stitch. Now this is the first stitch where we put our first single crochet, is here. Now this is the second one. So you still come with your hook. Before you insert your hook, make sure your hook, there's only one loop. This is a loop, this one. So you come into the second, you pull the yarn or the strand. Now you have 2 loops on your hook, you yarn over, you pull the 2 loops at once. That is your second stitch. You're going to make the third one. You come into the third stitch, you pull the yarn or the strand. You have 2 loops on your hook, you yarn over, you pull the 2 at once. So that is how simple it is to make single crochet. So just to know that once your body is familiar with these movements, it's just a walkover. So this is how simple it is to make single crochet. You just go into the next stitch with the 1 loop on your hook, you pull the yarn, then you have 2 loops on your hook, then you yarn over, you pull at once. You go to the next, you pull the yarn, you have 2 loops on your hook, you yarn over and you pull at once. You go into the next, you yarn over, you pull a loop, you have 2 loops on your hook, you yarn over, you pull at once. So that is how it is. So you make all these single crochet if your project calls for single crochet the next row until you finish the whole chain. So you make all these single crochet until you finish the what? You finish the chain. You get my point? So if you're going to the next row, you just chain 1, you turn your work, then into the first stitch where the chain 1 is, you insert your hook, you pull the yarn, you have 2 loops on your hook, you yarn over, you pull at once, you go into the next. Make sure when you're going to the next, you see these two loops. Let me just do this. Hope you will see them. You see these 2 loops. There's this one, there's this one. So when you're inserting your hook, make sure if your project doesn't say use this one or this one, use one of these, you make sure you insert your hook and get both of them. but you find that you at some point you'll find that is where they will say that use the back loop or the front loop only. So if the project doesn't say that, make sure you get the two of them, these two of them, when you're making single crochet. So just bear that in mind. So you just come here, you insert your hook here, you pull the loop, you have 2 loops on your hook, you pull at once, you go into the next, you pull the loop, you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, you pull at once. So this is how single crochet is done. So you continue doing single crochet until you finish your until you finish that row, or until if your project calls for only single crochet, you continue doing the same thing until you finish the row. And you make sure you work in even this the first single crochet where we made the we made our first from the first row. So this is our single crochet. This is how we make single crochet. Now then when you're going to the next row, you just chain 1, you turn the work, then you place the single crochet here in the first stitch, then the same thing. So it's just like that, simple as that. Now from here we are going to make double crochet. So double crochet is still the same thing. I'm just going to take you through. It's still the same thing. After making your slip knot, this is your slip knot. After making your slip knot, you just you make that foundation chain. I will assume we are going to make 10. We already know how to make a foundation chain. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get. Now this is after the foundation chain. Now for double crochet, from the hook, this is the hook, you go into the 3rd stitch. This is 1, 2, 3. This is the 3rd stitch where my finger is, this one. Now then you yarn over. Remember the single crochet, we are not yarning over. Now this one you yarn over, the double crochet you yarn over, then you go into your 3rd stitch from the hook, you pull the yarn. Now here we have 3 loops on the hook. The single crochet we had 2 loops on the hook, but this one we have 3 loops on the hook. Now you yarn over, you pull the first 2. This is 1, 2, the first 2. You leave this one, you pull the loop to pass through the first 2. You remain with 2 loops on the hook. You again yarn over and pull both loops at once. That is 1 double crochet. I'm going to make the second one. You yarn over, you go into the next stitch, you pull the yarn, you have 3 loops on the hook, you yarn over, you pull the first 2, you remain with 2, you yarn over again, you pull the 2 loops at once. This is the second or the 3rd stitch, the 3rd yarn, the 3rd double crochet. Now we're going to make the 4th one. You yarn over, you go into the next stitch, you pull the yarn, you have 3 loops on your hook, you yarn over, you remain with 2 loops on the hook, you yarn over, you pull both at once. So that is how it is done. It's very simple. If you're patient, if you want to learn these things, if you want to learn to crochet, just be patient, practice. It is as simple as that. Once you've learned these stitches, the fundamental stitches, then you are good to go. You'll be able to do anything. You get my point? So that is how you make a double crochet. So you continue making double crochet until you finish your your foundation chain. So it's as simple as that. You yarn over, You go into the next stitch, you insert your hook here, you pull the loop, you have 3 loops on the hook, you yarn over, you pull the first 2 loops, you remain with 2, you yarn over again, you pull the last 2, you yarn over, you go into the next stitch, you pull the loop, you have 3 loops on the hook, you yarn over, you pull the first 2, you remain with 2, you yarn over again, you pull the last 2. So this is how double crochet is made. So you count your stitches, how many are they, you count your double crochets, how many are they. So this is a stitch, this is a stitch, this one. So this is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So if your foundation stitch was saying that you need 9 stitches, you know, you're sure that you have 9 stitches. If it was saying that you need 100 stitches, then you make sure that it's 100. So make sure every time you finish, you count to confirm. Every time you finish, count to confirm. I always have a rough book myself. Whenever I'm working on a project, I note down. I know that this row, yes, I've finished this. This is the stitches I have. So that the next row, I know that it's be the same thing. You get my point. So make sure you do that. Have a pen, have a rough book or a rough paper, and always note down. Be sure that if the foundation chain, I started with 110 and 101, sorry, then the next, my first row 1, I should be having 100, or I should be having 99, depending on how many, on what your project calls for. You get my point. So make sure you always count. These stitches are very important. Accounting is very, very, very important. If you don't count in crocheting, then you're going to mess up. You're going to find that your work will come, it will come when it is like this. It will be like this. You get here, it would have started like this, going straight, yeah? But in the when you end up either skipping, then it will start reducing. Now it's going like this. That is when you're reducing, but you don't know. Or you find that you're increasing when you don't know. Now it will start going back like this. You get like this. So you find that your work will not go as straight as you wanted, because you're not counting those stitches as you're supposed to be counting them. So that is how to make double crochet. So if you're going to the next row, you just chain 2, you turn your work. Some projects you work in this same chain 2 stitch, but some projects you find you don't need to work in this same chain 2 stitch. So all these you will get understand as time goes on. So we assume that we are going to work in the first stitch here. So you just yarn over, you come here, you insert your hook and pull the yarn. You have 3 loops on your hook, you yarn over, you pull the first 2, you remain with 2, you yarn over, you pull the last 2, you yarn over, you go into the next stitch, you pull the yarn, you have 3 loops on your hook, you yarn over, you have 2 loops on your hook, you remain with 2, you yarn over, you have finished your double crochet. So this is how double crochet is done. So you just continue until you finish, you reach here, you work also on top of this stitch. Then if you're going the next row and it still calls for double crochet, you chain 2, you turn the work, you again do the same. So it's how as simple as it is to make double crochet. That's how it is, simple as that. So basically, hope this helps. Now we are going to make our last stitch, which is a half double crochet. Then the rest, just take it slow, be patient, don't rush to make a project, or don't rush to be perfect. As they say, Rome was never built in one day. So just be patient, practice, practice, practice. That is simple. So we are going to make our half double crochet. It's still the same process. You start with a slip knot. After slip knot, you make a foundation chain, whereby maybe a foundation chain of 10, which is what I'm going to make. I'm just going to make 10 for the purpose of demonstration. Then 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So half double crochet is almost as same as double crochet. So you steal from the hook, you go into your third stitch. So you yarn over, you come into the third stitch, you pull the yarn. Now this time around, you just yarn over and you pull the 3 loops at once. We're going to do it again. You yarn over, you go into the next stitch, which is this one. Don't go into this one because this is where you've put your first stitch, this one. So you go into the next, because I sometimes also get confused most of the time, especially when you're learning, you mess up most of the time. You find you've put two stitches here, especially these because these stitches are always loose, so you would most of the time you'll not be able to identify them, but you'll be able to identify as time goes on. So you can always see that this is where you've put the stitch. Then you go into this next one. You insert your hook, you pull the loop, you have 3 loops on your hook, you yarn over, you pull at once the 3 of them. That's your second half double crochet. You yarn over, you go into the next, you pull the yarn, you have 3 loops on your hook, you yarn over, you pull the 3 at once, you go into the next, you yarn over, you pull the yarn, you have 3 loops on your hook, you yarn over, you pull the 3 at once, you yarn over, you go into the next stitch. So it is simple. You have 3 loops on your hook, you yarn over, you pull 3 at once. So half double crochet is almost as double crochet. The only difference is with half double crochet you pull the 3 loops at once. Then double crochet, you pull the first 2, you leave 2 loops on the hook, then you again yarn over and you pull those 2 loops at once. Whereby this one, you just yarn over, you insert your hook into the next stitch, you pull the yarn, you have 3 strands on your hook, you have 3 loops on your hook, then you yarn over, you pull the 3 at once. So it is as simple as that. That is how double crochet is done. So you continue until you finish your row. Continue until you finish the row. So this is half double crochet. You chain 2, you turn the work from the first stitch, you yarn over, you insert your hook, you pull the yarn, and you finish your you have double crochet. So let me just make this clear. Now you see these two loops. There's this loop, there's another loop here. So once your project doesn't call for you to use either this one or this one, make sure whenever you're inserting your hook, you take both of them. But if your project says that use the back loop or the front loop, then that's when you can be able to go with one. All those you get to know as time goes on, because there are some projects whereby you find that they're saying use the back loop, which is this one, the one that is far from you, or use the front loop. So if it doesn't call for front loop or back loop, then you make sure you take both of them. So that's how half double crochet is done. So basically that is if you learn these 5, then you're good to go. The rest is just a walkover. You get understand the next stitches, the triple, it's either triple or treble. Then there are so many. So just bear in mind that everything starts from zero. Everything starts from zero. So from zero, you just build from zero. You keep building until you find that you have reached somewhere. So all these cannot be, you cannot have this without from here. So this is the starting point. This is the starting point, these two. So it's either slip knot and foundation chain, or it's called the magic ring. There are those that is called the magic ring. So all those are foundation, those are fundamental stitches that you need to know. Sorry, that you need to know. Once you've got this, you're good to go. So like I said, just be patient, keep practicing, and once you've reached somewhere and you feel that you stuck, go back, rewatch this, repeat and repeat and repeat. Or you can even download them and have them on your phone, on the laptop or somewhere, and you keep going back to it. So that is it. Basically, for now, if you have any question, just let me know. I'll be willing to share with you. Like I said, I'm just sharing what I know, and that's it for now.